Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ivy League Digital Network for another edition of Around the Ancient Eight. Today we go around the Ancient Eight with men's basketball and preview the upcoming slate of games for the weekend. We do so with Barry Leonard up in Ithaca, New York, our digital network correspondent for the Cornell Big Red. Barry, really appreciate a few minutes today.
It's a pleasure, Matt. Great to be with you.
Barry, a good win for the Big Red over the weekend. When you look back at that win over Dartmouth, what stands out about the win?
I think they're starting to develop a bit of a mental resolve. You know, earlier in the season, playing so many freshmen in prominent roles, a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors that really hadn't had significant time the previous years. They didn't know how to win at that point. And in this game, they were down. They were up 15 points twice in the second half and still, refused to be rattled when Dartmouth rolled off 16 straight points. Obviously, you've got a kid like Nolan Kressler, who's one of the upper-tier players in the league, a junior guard, Devin Cherry, that hit some big free throws, and finally a senior that's looking at the clock and Dwight Tarwater and saying, I've got 3 to 4 weeks left in my Cornell career. Comes up with his third double-double of the season, also makes big free throws. Cornell has not been a particularly good shooting team coming down the stretch, but they made big free throws, got contributions from a sophomore, a junior, and a senior to pull out a much, much needed win. Does wonders for them psychologically, of course.
One of the bright spots for the Big Red this season has certainly been the play of sophomore Nolan Kressler. Talk about his maturity and how far he's come from his freshman to his sophomore campaign.
Well, again, he wasn't a starter last year, so he's added on probably 15 to 20 to 25 additional minutes per game. Bill Courtney has told me he's reading defenses better. He's a terrific open shooter, but now he's got the ability, to beat you off the bounce. He's developed a nice floater in the lane. Just a maturity factor, beyond his years. He was a scorer coming out of high school. He could distribute the ball a little bit better. And the fact that he is the focus of every team's opposing offense and still is getting you 16 to 18 points a game just speaks volumes to his maturity.
Harvard and Yale pacing the top of the standings right now. You go into another weekend of back-to-backs this weekend. What has your attention going into this weekend?
I think the game that's really got me interested is Harvard and Princeton on Saturday. That's an intriguing game because different styles. I actually thought Princeton would start making a run, particularly after they played Cornell and looked so good. So that game's got my eye or attention, you might say. And then, of course, the Yale-Cornell game. Obviously, after us, they got to play Columbia. A lot of people, I don't know if they're doubting Yale, but they've come out of nowhere. I seem to think that Yale is for real. Obviously, Harvard was the preseason undisputed #1, but Justin Sears making a serious case for Ivy League Player of the Year. And I think they have a very underrated point guard in Javier Duran and Armani Cotton. They've got 3 kids that can match up with Harvard anytime, any place. So I like the Harvard-Princeton game, and certainly Cornell-Yale will be interesting as well.
Barry, really appreciate your coverage all season long for the Cornell Big Red. Also appreciate a couple minutes today.
Matt, a pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll see you right back here on the Ivy League Digital Network tomorrow as we go around the Ancient Eight and preview the upcoming women's slate of games. Matt Panto for the Ivy League Digital Network.